Live from Orlando, it's Hamcation. Hey there, welcome back to Hamshack TV. I'm your host Josh, AA4WX. Appreciate you tuning in. If you've seen this particular clip before, it's because I'm using this as a generic open. That way I don't have to, I can cut between different things and make it easier to edit. So I hope you enjoy the content that's coming up for you right after the opening sequence. All right, once again back here at Hamcation Live, well not live, but here in Orlando, Florida 2026, and we've ran into the Long Island CW Club, and I'm going to pass the mic around and let everybody introduce themselves and that kind of thing. If you're looking to get into CW, these are the guys that are going to help you do it. The easiest way, through Long Island CW Club. So we'll just pass the mic and just say your name, call sign, and what you do with the club.
My name's Steve. My call sign's N1SG, and I'm an instructor and teach various courses as needed.
Hello, everybody. My name's Howard, WB2UZE. I'm one of the founders of the club.
Hi, I'm Mike. Call signs November 1, Charlie, Charlie. I'm an instructor with the club, and I'm on the team that helps develop the curriculum.
And I'm Bob, call sign W06W. I'm both a student and an instructor with the club. Tend to be one of the folks you see first coming in, how to get a key hooked up, how to get your side tone into Zoom. If you're interested in bugs, we're going to run into each other as well.
Outstanding. We've only got one mic, guys, so bear with me there. But Howard, let me ask you, how long has Long Island CW Club been around, and what's the mission of what's your all's mission?
Okay, well, we got started about 8 years ago, and the way we decided to get going is there was a shortage of field day operators on Long Island for CW, and as most of us know, you get 2 points on field day for CW versus 1 for sideband. And I said to my friend Rich K2 UPS, why don't we give back and see if we can create more operators on Long Island? So I went around and I strong-armed everybody I knew from the 3 major clubs. And I thought after I had 52 members that was going to be it. But then COVID came and the whole country was locked down and we were on Zoom. And it gave something to, everybody to do, and the club exploded. We had about 1,000 members, and it hasn't slowed down since then. We're almost 8,000 members strong now in all 50 states and 70 countries. We teach 182 classes and forums per week on Zoom, which means that we have about 100 instructors. And besides CW, we have forums related to ham radio every day to kind of make it fun to go along with the study. So we'll, have forums on portable operation, vintage gear, which is something that myself and Mike like. Things to do with radio and related technologies. It could be anything from satellite to the history of radio. We can do that on a Monday night. CW makers, we build things. We have an Arduino class. We have a Morse class. Bob heads up the antenna forum, which is every Sunday. So we try to build a whole community, and that's why we're here at Florida, to let everybody know that if you want to learn CW, it's possible.
Excellent. So let me go to you next, Mike. Talk about how, with me being in the YouTube space, a lot of my viewers are on the younger side of things. And a lot of them think, CW Morse code, that's, kind of ancient technology. Talk about the relevance of CW in 2026. Oh, reach.
Well, there was a time when learning Morse code was required to become a ham radio operator. And then the FCC took that requirement away, and all of us thought that Morse code was probably going to die. but just the opposite happened. There is a nostalgic aspect to Morse code that people seem to be longing for. It's sort of an anti-technology kind of thing. They love the simplicity of it. And one of the big drivers in the hobby today is called soda and poda. Young people that want to get out in nature, go to parks, climb mountains, and operate. And when you're operating in that kind of an environment, you don't want to carry a big, heavy radio with batteries and things with you. And so Morse code gives you the ability to operate a very small, light rig very efficiently. Morse code with a few watts is much more efficient than sideband with voice. So there is a resurgence in interest in learning Morse code, and we are strategically positioned as teachers of Morse code to answer that call.
Outstanding. Well, let me ask you guys this. But y'all been in the hobby for quite some time, right? How do you feel about the relevance of Morse code today in comparison to, let's say, FT8 and different things like that? Because a lot of people are navigating over in that direction. It's in my trailer, by the way. KK4PAL, everybody. Let me start with you, Bob.
So when I was first licensed back in 1965, give or take, my mom had to drive me down to the field office. I passed the receiving test at 13 and I failed sending. So my mom had to drive me back to the downtown field office a few weeks later, passed my code test, didn't touch it again for a long time. When I got my extra, I had to copy at 20 words per minute, didn't touch CW again for a long time. Hit 2020, I'm retired. I'm in a very, very high noise environment. I've got a limited antenna, and I'd actually like to be able to contact people. And with those constraints, CW was really the mode that would allow me to get out, would allow me to get heard. I started learning again, and I got absolutely hooked. Absolutely hooked. And I admit I spend more time building things than I do operating. Getting more on the air these days. I've discovered that hi, my name is Bob. I'm a keyholic, and it's been probably 2 or 3 weeks since I bought a key. I love the devices and the people who make them, and especially have grown attracted to bugs. But I love the mechanical nature of it. It's almost like playing an instrument. Just having a blast with it. And the people I've met in the club. I'll mention, I joined LICW right at the beginning of lockdown. That online community was a major part of my sanity for a good long time. Steve?
Well, I guess I got into Morse code initially. A family friend was staying with us, handed me a Boy Scout manual, and it had Morse code for one of the badges. Well, I learned the Morse code as dots and dashes on a page paper. Absolutely the wrong thing to do. I went and studied the manual for a novice exam, which you had to have. That was the entry point into it. And it required 5 words a minute of Morse code copying. And the family friend who came over and did the test for me, he was a general class licensee. He started playing or sending Morse code, and I started writing dots and dashes down on the page. And he took one look at that and said, can't do it that way. It's an auditory language. That was my Morse code. 30 years later, I ended up at a work environment, and one of my friends said, do you know what amateur radio is? I said, yeah. He said, they've taken away the Morse code requirement. I said, oh. So I immediately stopped the ham radio outlet, and I bought the book and the tape. And 5 days later, I went to take the test for it was the codeless technician license. Never passed the theory for the novice. They had me take the code test. I told them I've only been doing this for 5 days. He said, do it. It's a good experience. Anyway, the long and the short of it is I missed getting the codeless tech by one question on the theory. Wow. And it was ordained. Somebody up there liked me. Because I said to myself at that point, I am never going to let Morse code stop me from doing anything I want in ham radio. So from that point on, I got my 5 words a minute and went on to the extra class eventually. I have worked Morse code about 95% of the time. I spent a little bit of time on a mode called Olivia, and I used to do some competition in RIDI. But my love is Morse code. I love talking to people and finding out about what they're doing. The contests don't interest me. To be able to say some of the people I've spoken to, my daughter went over to Germany to be an exchange student. My 2 friends over in Finland said, "Oh, come on over. We've got a room for you. You can stay with us." I could have been an axe murderer, but they let me go. And I've made more friends through the radio, through Morse code particularly. So I've loved the thing. I'm going to continue doing it until they cart me away.
What a story, but I mean, look at you. I would kind of worry about axe murderer a little bit. I don't know, but anyway, so for my audience and folks thinking about getting into CW, what is the process to get involved with you guys, and cost involved and things like that?
Well, if you're interested in taking our classes, we'd like you to join the club. And the way you go about doing that, Josh, is you come to our website, longislandcwclub.org, longislandcwclub.org. And on the navigation bar on the homepage, there's a membership tab. You click on that, and then you click on Apply for Membership. You fill out a short form. That comes to me, and then we start the process from there. And then, there's a request to, a suggestion of what to pay for PayPal, either 1, 2, 3, or lifetime membership. And from there, you get full access and full amenities to the club, and we send you an email with full instructions of what to do next and how to get into classes.
Howard, may I add one detail to that?
What's that?
Yeah, for many of our newer members, they've signed up for a year and then chosen to upgrade to 2, 3 years or life. And within that first year, I believe they'll pay the difference. So sign up for a year. And then if you decide you really like it, you can up it to whatever you might choose as a different level.
Outstanding. Well, we got a lot of equipment here on the table in front of us. One of you go through everything we've got here, and then which one of you is the fastest? Howard?
I guess so.
All right. Well, Howard, I'm going to hand you the mic, and if you will tell us what we're looking at here with all of these, and then let's see how fast you can go.
Well, first of all, when it comes to speed, Josh, we don't really teach speed. We teach copy comprehension. So here's my position on speed, as long as we're talking about that. Back in the day, when I was younger, it would be very common for people to be sending, above 20 words a minute, and you'd hear plenty of people doing that today, back in the day. Today, the most common speed is about 13 to 15 words a minute. And that's the speed that a lot of people feel comfortable doing POTA with, especially as new operators. If you call a CQ at 25 words a minute, you might be very lonely on the bands unless somebody from Europe came and called you where they're a little bit faster than the United States. So speed is not the important thing. It's copying in your head, and accuracy and enjoyment is more important. So I'd like to stress that. So let me come around the table here. And Bob is even more familiar with all these keys than I am. This is a very interesting key right here, Josh. This is what they called a Navy flameproof. This was a World War II, Korean War era type of key, very popular, very good with the large Navy knob. It used to have a cover. It would be used in an airplane or on a ship, and it was covered so that if there was a spark from the key, from the high voltage from these vintage radios, it wouldn't ignite any fumes. So that's why they called it a flame-proof. Most of the time when you see these for sale now, the cover is missing, and you don't really need the cover. So with a straight key like this, you know, you could really send maybe up to about 18 words a minute, and then after that, your wrist is going to be pretty tired, because if you're going to go over 18 words a minute with a straight key, you're going to be exhausted, and you'll develop, at our age, carpal tunnel very quickly. So, you know, 15 words a minute on a key like this will be pretty good. Let's see if it's hooked up to an oscillator. So if you sent like a CQ, let me send the letter CQ, and and my call sign, and I'll show you what a comfortable speed would be for calling with a straight key in today's environment and today's bands. There's a CQ. Then you go DE, which means from. And then my call sign being WB2UZE would sound like this. I space my letters in a certain way that has a certain flavor to it. You don't run it all together. You space the letters to give the other people time to comprehend them. If I went through them really quick, Josh, it would be like this. That wouldn't do too much for people on the air today. This would sound much better. That would get you an answer. Okay, so that's a flame-proof. This is a bug. Now, when you are using a straight key, there's a lot of action like this. And especially if you hold your hand up in the air like I was doing, you can get pretty tired quickly. So at the end of the 1800s, they developed these bugs to be able to save the fist and the wrist of telegraph operators. So if you hold, this is spring operated. A good operating bug, if you just held the dots, would give you maybe about 20 or 25 dots before it would stop vibrating. But you have to make the dashes yourself here. But you can see that going like this with your wrist, it's a lot easier than pounding brass, so to speak. So if I wanted to call the CQ on the bug, it would sound like this. I can only use these things with a little bit of what we call banana boat swing, or the way they used to send in the old days. It doesn't sound like the straight key. The dashes have a little bit more personality, but that's the way I've been sending ever since I was 15 years old when I first got this thing, almost 60 years ago. That was my second key I ever got. Not this, but the same style. So mine has a little bit of a swing to it, as we call it. So if I would call CQ and then do my call sign, it would sound like this on the bug. A little bit of a personality, you know. Then the DE would be like this. And then my call sign would be like this. The 2 has a swing to it. Other people will send it maybe more fluid and clearer, but that's not the way we did it back in the day. To me, this is a back in the day type of instrument, but people today are using it more like, a purist would, like closer to a keyer. So then we get to a keyer. Maybe we can turn the tone up on this, Bob. Make it a little higher.
Volume and speed.
That's volume. Is this the tone? No?
I can do that on this one.
What? Maybe a little bit higher pitch. All right, we'll do it this way, Josh, because this is a little too low a pitch. Or this one is a little higher pitch? No, I'll tell you what, we'll use this. I think you'll be able to hear it. So this is a keyer, so this is where the dots and dashes are made electronically for you. So what is our feeling on this? We like to teach people on a straight key. And why? We feel there's a better mind-to-hand connection when you're learning and making the dots and dashes by yourself. This, to me, is a complicated instrument, and I wouldn't recommend anybody using this until they get to about 18 words a minute. And the keyer, the computer is making the dots and dashes for you, so it's a different thought process. So we don't like to recommend this for teaching. But I'll tell you, Josh, if you went on QRZ and you said, what should I learn on, a straight key or a keyer, you're going to get 10,000 different opinions.
Right.
And everybody's entitled to their opinion, and we would never criticize someone for saying, okay, it's better to learn on a keyer. The final decision is yours. We recommend this. You want to learn on this, it's fine. But the mind-hand connection we feel is stronger here. But a lot of people would disagree, and they figure for you to get to higher speeds, you got to start faster. But that's okay. And to me, it doesn't matter as long as you get on the air. You could stand on your head and listen to a record, but if you get on the air in 4 months, it's fine with me.
Yeah.
But we had to select a way that we decided to teach, and we felt it was better this way. Okay, so on a keyer, all the dashes and the dots are made for you. Now you got to decide to put this together. This happens to be a double paddle, and the technique for a double paddle is actually to squeeze the letters. And frankly, after 60 years of CW, I don't know how to do that. So I use this in the traditional way, like it was all connected like this, one piece. You got to be a little bit more careful with the double paddle because you can make mistakes, because it's designed to squeeze it like this. Okay, and that's another technique. Bob, do you squeeze?
I don't.
You do. Do you squeeze, Steve?
No, I do not.
A lot of people don't. Mike, who is here, he will squeeze. Okay? So, how do you do a CQ with this? Let's slow it down a little bit. That's the volume. So it's very comfortable. And then DE, and then my call sign. I still put a little spacing between the letters, especially between the Z and the E, because the Z is a tough letter for people. I want people to get it, And you can hear that the dashes and the dots are perfect compared to this, where my Z would be more of a personality. The Z here is already made for you. Now, which do I prefer? With my wrists these days, being that I'm going to be 74 years old, I would prefer to use the keyer. I mean, the bug to me is fun. I'll use it once in a while to show people how it used to sound, but I don't use one at home. I'll use the keyer. I never use a straight key because it's a little bit too much work for me.
Right. Right.
So that's basically the three modes. Now, there's another type of key called a Sideswiper. Is that it? Yeah, why don't you show the Sideswiper, Bob?
So the Sideswiper came about at almost exactly the same time as the bug for commercial use. The bug won the war. With the Sideswiper, it acts like a simple switch to either side. There's no automation, purely manual, but the manipulation is with a rocking back and forth. Howard's call sign.
That was my call sign.
And again, you can't really tell the difference between one key and another. One of our one of my mentors, his father was a Navy radio man, and made the comment that if I can tell what kind of a key you're using, I'm doing it wrong. It was a different mindset toward it, and they're both beautiful to copy.
Well, back in the day, Josh, with a fist, like we call that a fist,
Yep.
that I was using on this, operators could tell who was sending. I can, tell the difference between people sending remote recordings, maritime reporting from ships to a station. So you could tell your friend was sending before it sent its call sign because you knew what his fist sounded like. Because everybody was unique. So, you asked before, your first question was why CW? You can see that getting to be able to do all of this is kind of fun, and it takes some skill. Today, everything is going to like AI and computers, and FT8 is very computer orientated, and you're not really using your brain too much. But this is old school, and if you have the patience to learn this and to understand the background and have somebody explain to you, okay, this was used for this should sound like this flame proof was used so it didn't start a fire on a ship, and this knob is ergonomically made like this to hold on to it in a certain way. If someone explains all this, it becomes very fascinating if you have the patience to want to learn this. Today's attention spans are not as long as they were years ago. We all know that. Get your 15 seconds of fame these days. YouTube's reels, they go very quickly. They repeat over and over. So, it takes a certain type of person to be interested in this.
Very good.
All right, guys. So, Howard, tell everybody one more time how to find you and give your last pitch, so to speak.
Okay, well, if you'd like to learn Morse code, we're teachers of Morse code, and you go to our website, longislandcwclub.org, and there's a membership page. You click on that and then click on apply for membership. There'll be a quick form that'll come to us, and we'll tell you how to join. And 1 year is $30, lifetime is $90. We like everybody to go for lifetime. It's less work for us with the re-upping. And after you join, we'll send you full instructions what to do next. There'll be introductory classes. There'll be people to help you, and you can start classes right away. And we have a whole curriculum. And if you'd like to read about how we teach, also on that same website homepage under academics, if you had 2 hours, you can read everything that Mike N1CC wrote, along with videos, and learn how we designed our curriculum and why we recommend the straight key, for example. Everything is written there.
All right. Well, Howard, Bob, Steve, Mike, thank you guys. Appreciate your time here. Folks, I don't know how, but I ended up on their side of the table, so we're going to give them their table back. Go check out Long Island CW Club, guys. I'll give you one look at their sign here. Yep. So go check them out and learn you some CW. Let's get more people doing CW on the air. I know I probably will. 7-3, everybody. We'll see you in the next one. AA4WX, WSCB 693.